Hey everyone, so I am not sure how this is going to land for all of you, and it's not really my intention today actually for it to land in a specific way, other than the fact that I want the ones that are ready to hear this to really hear it. If you are in a place in your life where you are constantly asking questions outside of yourself, always depending on something outside of yourself for validation, for should I do this, should I do that, how do I decalcify my pineal gland? I got a question like that just recently. How do I make more money? How do I? What I want you to understand is that you have been conditioned to consistently look outside of yourself for answers. Now, I'm not saying that there is no coach or mentor who has already got what it is that you desire that can answer some of your questions for you. I'm not saying that's not true. That is absolutely true. But what I'm saying is, if you don't begin to go within and trust yourself, actually, plural, selves, then you will never trust yourself. Okay, well, Kimberly, what does trusting myself have to do with success or with getting answers or with living an abundant life, a freedom-filled life? Well, it has everything to do with it, my friends, because when you trust yourself, and when you're in full alignment with the divine, with spirit, then you will start to make moves that you would never make moves before when you don't trust yourself. Does that not make sense? But when you consistently train your subconscious mind to constantly believe that you don't know anything. I don't trust anything I know. I don't even ask myself anything because I just don't know. I had report cards that told me that I'm a C student, so that means I'm stupid. That means that I'm never going to amount to much. BS. And so this belief system is now playing out my whole entire life into my adulthood, into what I can do here in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. External things are not true. What is true is what is going on within yourself. In the world that we live in, we have been conditioned to consistently use the physical world to get. If you want something, go get an education. If you're hungry, go get something from a restaurant. If you want a relationship, just go get one on the internet and just go on to some, dating profile. Get. There's not one time where you are taught to go within yourself and say, okay, what is it that I truly desire? What is it that I really want to experience? And you will actually start to see yourself with it. This happens in your imagination. This is the portal to the quantum field. This is why no one teaches you this, because if you go into the quantum field, you're able to innovate. You're able to create new experiences for yourself. And this is not allowed, my friends, not in this timeline. They only want you to listen to their information, think from their thoughts, think from their information, so that you never, ever, ever innovate and create something that doesn't match this timeline. What people might not want to hear today, but it doesn't matter, I'm going to say it, is that if you have not connected back to your spirit, you can call it God, you can call it the universe, you can call it the quantum field. It does not matter. If you are still thinking that you're alone as a human being navigating a physical world, and everything you do is only whatever you as a human decides to do, and you're not even acknowledging your intuition, you're not even acknowledging that you have a higher self or that you're connected to the infinite intelligence, universal intelligence, then you will never achieve anything more than what you've got. And that is a very profound statement. But just like in the Bible, Joshua says, it is not I who does the works, it's the Father who does it. Everything that you want to achieve, anything more than what you have now, which most likely is going to be everything because you're limited out the yin yang with very little. You don't do it alone. You have to work with the Creator. And if you don't, you'll keep creating exactly what you have now. Whoever thought in business that you being connected to the universe has anything to do with your success? Meanwhile, it has everything to do with your success because business is energetics. Business is your mind. It's psychological. So let's zone in on what you think all the time. Let's zone in on how you feel all the time. Let's zone in on what makes you think and feel. Is it things outside of you? that you give your power away to? Or are you listening to your internal system, your infinite power that's right there waiting for you, and trusting that? There's the trust factor again. Do you trust that inner knowing to make moves when it doesn't look like you should make those moves? When it looks like it's going to take you out of alignment with everyone else and what everyone else is doing? When there's no proof that this inner knowing is going to get you what you desire, there's no evidence of it in your physical world, are you still willing to trust yourself and go? These are huge when it comes to being successful in life, business, earning more money, attracting ideal clients, living a life of freedom. Freedom comes when you start to live from you, from the inside out, where you're no longer giving your power away, when you're no longer attached and associated to old belief systems, familiar people that hold you back from you accelerating who you want to be. When guilt and shame and worry take over your body, where you are like, I can't change because all of these people depend on me. What are you doing? You're not even doing them any service by you staying the same. If you're feeling a pull to become more than who you are, that is going to add not only to you, to your family, to your friends, but to the world. So to worry that it's going to agitate or make someone feel uncomfortable is something that you have to leave at the table if you truly want to live an extraordinary life. How many of you would listen to your intuition and then follow up right away with whatever it is that you heard? When you get that intuitive hit, when you get that knowing, okay, I know that this is something most likely I should do. It scares the living hell out of me, but I'm done with staying where I am. Whether it's in business, in your relationships, in life, you're done. Then these are the things that you have been gifted from your higher self, your connection to source, that's moving you out of this life you're in now into a life that you love. And how many of you trust that? Because that means you have to trust yourselves. Most people dismiss it because this inner ding, this knock at the door, is going to require you to change who you are. It's going to require you to possibly change a job, change your relationships, change something in your world right now, which makes complete sense if you want something new, doesn't it? But most people are so anchored to their external world, it's their identity, it's how they identify themselves, that they're not willing to let that go and allow abundance in. How many of you in business knew that you had to be vulnerable, that you had to be someone who was in integrity, that you had to be willing to be someone who makes mistakes and actually not hide it, but tell people you've made mistakes and be okay with it? How many of you thought that you being authentic was a magnet to attracting clients to you? Or have you been taught just to go and get clients and just go and use those strategies to get whatever it is you're looking for? Integrity, authenticity, honesty. This is what makes you rich. Not only rich in business, but rich in freedom, rich in your relationships, but rich within yourself. Because everything that you're looking for that's external to you is trying to fill the void that's within yourself. When you're full, when you acknowledge your higher self, when you connect back to the truth of who you are, you don't need anything any longer. You're coming from a place of giving. And yes, you do get to receive things, but that's not the reason why you're doing it in the first place anymore. But how many of you are willing to be vulnerable online? How many of you are willing to show your weaknesses? Which aren't weaknesses. You just need to sharpen your skills. We're not born able to do everything. How do you experience something? How do you learn something if you know everything? So you've got to not know something, but you're being pulled towards something which requires you to grow. And one of the things most don't understand is that this isn't just about you as a physical being. There is a soul. There is a soul that's here for spiritual growth, and it needs your physical body to do so. So when humans don't move, when they do not take aligned action to move towards their purpose and why they're here, They stay stuck on the hamster wheel, living the same day, the same year, the same life over and over again. You're trapping the soul in a quarantine. It's here to evolve and grow. Its consciousness is dying to expand through you because you're partners. But when you don't acknowledge the soul or the spirit, you don't acknowledge anything that's not physical in your realm, you are doing nothing to grow or change. You're being controlled from the outside in, not from the inside out, which is how it was always meant to be. How many people are teaching you this in business right now? I don't see it often because they want to stay like the status quo. They want to keep making money. They want to keep having clients. So they're going to keep saying and selling the way that the clients believe is the way to get rich and successful. Well, when you realize that that isn't the truth, that's not integrity. You need to show up and teach the clients that are used to the old paradigms, the new paradigm. Everything is shifting on this planet. Everything is breaking down that no longer vibrates in higher frequencies. And that includes old ways of selling, old ways of doing business, and the old ways of being you. So you need to understand everything. Everything here needs an absolute energetic upgrade if it's going to exist in this higher frequency realm that we're moving into. I think it's beautiful. I think ascension is powerful. It requires us to step up and into a new level of ourselves. Whether we like it or not, it's required now. You have no choice. But people are fearing this. People worry about, changing their lives. Well, are you completely and 100% fulfilled with the life that you have? Are you full of meaning and happiness and joy? Every single day you wake up, are you feeling these things? Because what has happened? Because humans are adaptable. We've adapted to thousands and thousands of years of mediocre living, of just getting by, living in survival, and accepted that as reality. And that is bullshit. You can continue to accept that as reality, and you will create that reality moving forward. But this is the time that you are being called. This is why the higher frequencies are literally coming here from the cosmos. You are being called as a soul, as an infinite intelligence, to rise. And whatever it is that you're trying to do in your life, whether it's to quantum leap in your business, whether it is to find better health within yourself, whether it's to heal old paradigms, old shadow programs that are vibrating in a lower frequency can no longer exist when you choose to rise. When you choose to no longer associate yourself with those old shadows, those old programs. Why they happened does not matter. Who did it to you no longer matters. What matters is you looking at it with forgiveness and rising in unconditional love and leading yourself from that version of you moving forward. You want to know why 1% right now of the population are living in abundance? Because they're willing to do this. Everyone else wants to stay in a story. Everyone else wants to blame other people, other things. The reasons why they're stuck, the reasons why they can't seem to get out of that rut, the reason why they're making the same income over and over again. It's always the coach's fault. Or my parents. Or my kids. That's not good leadership. How empowering do you feel when you own that every move you make is yours? And if you falter, so what? Get up, dust yourself off, and learn from it. So what? That's not a problem. In the moment that you dust yourself off and keep going, you are gaining wisdom. You are shifting your frequency and you are leading yourself. Those people, your clients, will want to follow that leader. Not someone who's afraid to show up, worried about what people will think, dimming their light because they want to fit into the status quo. That, my friend, that time is over. And anyone in business, entrepreneurs, online business, influencers, healers, teachers, you want to influence the world, then you need to show up as the light that you came here to be, and no more excuses. Do what it takes to evolve yourself and allow yourself to be yourself. Allow yourself to show up in this world. Do whatever it takes. Hire that coach. Take those programs. You will not find it in the educational system. You will not find it in mainstream that will teach you how to grow and evolve into the best version of you. Not a chance. You need to knock. And then the door will be opened. The old paradigms are falling. The old identity has to go. The old way of living is on its way out. Everyone knows it and everyone can feel it. So what does that mean for you? That means that it's time for you, if you want something more in your life, if you want to grow your business, if you want to create a quantum leap, if you're ready to make a difference in the world because you know that's a calling you've had since birth, then you need to call yourself to rise and begin to trust yourself. Trust that inner knowing. Trust your intuition. And don't procrastinate. Take actions, even if the evidence in the 3D world doesn't support it. Who cares? The evidence in the 3D is the last to know what you're up to anyways. How can it support you until you make the decision and take action towards what it is you want? Secondly, it'll support you. And at some point, it'll show you. How can you say, I'm going to wait until I'm ready and then I'll do it? I'm going to ask all of you to literally ponder that thought and use your mind and think about it. How can you say, I will do this when I'm ready? You'll never be ready to do anything first before you do a thing that you've never done before. Like, it just blows my mind that we say these things and it holds ourselves back from literally living the life we want to live because we're literally doing something that makes no sense and energetically stops you from growing. If you want more money, your consciousness must grow. No one's teaching you that, are they? But if you don't grow and you don't evolve and become more valuable, you will not get rich in your business. You will stay exactly where you are, or you won't have a business. So how can you say, I will not do this until I'm ready, when you aren't ready until you dive into it, start to feel what it's like to be in that space, and then start to evolve from it by taking actions, messy actions. But in that moment of messy actions, you're gaining what? An experience. And that experience is something people will pay you for. So the ones that take the risks, the ones that are willing to get uncomfortable and walk into the abyss, those are the ones that get paid the big money because they deserve it. Because they trust themselves, which most people don't. And they're there to lead the ones that don't trust themselves so that they finally one day trust themselves. If you continue to live your life from the outside in, where circumstances, time, people, things dictate when you're going to do something, how you're going to do something, and what you're going to do, you have given your power away. And you think that you're empowered? You wonder why you feel tired. You wonder why you don't feel whole, because you're not working in wholeness. You're separate. You got your little human over here trying to do all the work physically, and you're not even connected to the spiritual side of yourself, the one that holds all the power, the one that actually moves and rearranges the universe, does all this for you when you decide that you're going to move. The magic in manifestation happens behind the scenes. It never happens by what you physically do. So you need to go within yourself and trust yourself. You need to lead yourself now from a brand new paradigm if you want to excel in this new world. It's all about raising your frequency and aligning yourself with that next level you, the higher aspect of yourself that the universe is calling on you right now to become. If you notice that you're just like everyone else, if you notice that you live like everyone else, if you notice all of that, then that is a great indication from your external world you're not living in alignment with your truth. Because no one was meant to be the same as anyone else. We're not all meant to be in one little box. You have your own imprint. There is a signature within your DNA that is only yours. And you're not meant to look like everyone else or do everything like everyone else. So if you're still wondering why you don't have what you want, are you being just like the status quo? Are you trying to fit in and not stick out? Are you trying to be likable? You're trying not to rustle any feathers. You're not living from your true self then. Because your true authentic self will stand boldly in itself. It will ruffle any feathers it wants as long as it's going towards the greater good of itself and other people in this world. So these are the things you want to start to contemplate when you start to blame the world, the coach, yourself, your children, your boss, why you don't have the life you want, why you don't have the income you want, why you don't have the freedom you want. Freedom starts first from the inside out. If you want freedom in anything in life, you got to start there.